Welcome to this session on how to effectively advocate for arts education. I'm Pat Wayne, and I have basically spent an entire career advocating for arts ed in our schools. So let's get started. Your role as an influencer and leader can make all the difference in providing the arts to all students. Many times people hear that word advocacy and it may feel a little scary and off-putting. It conjures up images of picketing and loud protests. We might think that what may be required of us is going to be not only demanding, but may even jeopardize our working relationships. So I'd like to share another approach that is strategic, effective, and can be tailored to your particular work situation and the culture in your workplace. So here you see that's me standing up with 4 leaders from around the state. We are actually in Tulare County getting ready to present to their school districts at the invitation of and in partnership with the Tulare County Office of Ed. This is really what advocacy should look like: collaboration, dialogue, and partnership. So just to ground us, here you see a system made up of all the partners that can make a big difference to ensure that every student receives a complete education that includes the arts in compliance with the Ed Code. But what if all of your arts curriculum has been cut or are bare bones? Regardless of where you are at, whether you need to build an entire program or you just need to tweak what you already have, these strategies work for all situations. First, it's important to know that often when you are talking to others about arts ed, they may not be thinking about it the same way as you are. Just like there are many versions of a single leaf, each person you are talking to may have a different image when you say those words, arts education. So it's critical to take the time to provide the information for them that frames the issue up front and why it's so very important that students receive a complete curriculum. I often start with the fact that California used to lead the nation in the quality of arts programs at every single school. Then a series of events in the 1970s unintentionally created a situation where there was an avalanche of cuts to arts programs. None of these events were meant to marginalize arts curriculum, but unfortunately they did, and it can be overwhelming to think about how do we put all these courses back for 5 different arts disciplines. The frame becomes this: we used to have it, so we aren't asking for anything new, just to rebuild it and be in compliance with the Ed Code. Secondly, PTA and arts organizations then rushed in to provide something for the students, often after school, and that created an issue of inequity. One school could have exemplary, equitable arts programs, maybe because parents paid for it or an arts organization got a grant that benefited that school, but the school down the road has nothing at all. Inequity. Lastly, it's important to remember that the processes of the arts build creative thinking skills. It's less about sending a theater student to Broadway or a music student to first violin chair in a professional orchestra, although these are very important outcomes that happen. But it's more about teaching every student to be innovative, collaborative, and to build their creative thinking muscles so they can succeed at any future job. California is, after all, you may not know this, the creative capital of the nation. And 1 out of 10 jobs are in the creative industries. When students never receive an arts education, they are literally being blocked from all these jobs. This is further supported by data from the World Economic Forum and the top 10 skills employers are looking for. Many of these are outcomes from participation in arts courses, and you can see the list there, and all of the processes of the arts that generate these skills. Next, and this is very compelling to me, the arts are easily a solution partner to help you set goals and fulfill the 10 local control accountability plan priorities. Some of the priorities are pretty much obvious to anyone, like these listed here. The arts have recently updated standards and framework, and there is extensive data on how the arts increase student engagement, resulting in increased attendance and lower dropout rates. We are actually providing a flyer for you that lists all of these data points along with the source for each of those points. I once heard my county superintendent say that the arts were about working smarter instead of harder in the classroom. And when I see this data, I can understand easily why this is the case. Another resource we are providing you is a friendly short document giving you 5 examples of arts in the LCAP. Each example provides a different snapshot that will support you as you determine what your first ask might be. So, step 1, frame the issue for decision makers. These points make up a powerful frame before you even launch into or even decide on an ask. The arts aren't new. We used to have them, and we need to put them back in compliance with the Ed Code. There are art standards, which, when implemented, pretty much guarantee equitable access and participation from students. Also, creativity is the #1 skill employers are looking for. And last but not least, why wouldn't you engage with the arts to strengthen and achieve the goals in your LCAP plan? Next, and this is extremely important, in order to create your ask, which is the meat of advocacy, you must investigate the data. It's important to know what your school and your school district currently offers and why. There may be legitimate reasons why that data looks the way it does. So here you see a screenshot of the Arts Education Data Dashboard hosted by Create California. And as you can see, it's very user-friendly, color-coded, and it's going to give you a lot of different dashboards to look at to slice and dice your data. So let's just look at a couple of quick examples. Here's the dashboard for an entire school district with 24 schools. I circled 2 things that popped out at me that I would want to investigate. First, I see that there are 898 students who have no access whatsoever to the arts. I would drill down to the school level to know which schools are these and is this data accurate? You know, different people input the data at the district. So I would want to make sure the courses got coded correctly and that this is, a true data point. Secondly, I want to look at the free and reduced lunch numbers. Here you can see that not only is the entire school district below the state average, but students on free and reduced lunch are even more unlikely to have access to and participate in the arts at only 28%. So next, let's look at a school profile. This is where you can see how many students are participating in the arts in each discipline and how many courses are being offered. I would be asking if this school is in compliance with the arts standards in the education code. So let's go ahead and review the steps so far. So first, frame the issue for your decision makers. Next, investigate the data, as it is critical in making your advocacy ask to decision makers. It will back you up with a rationale for where a school, district, or county office should start in expanding its offerings and increasing access to the arts. I'm also a big fan of creating a strategic plan that is linked to the LCAP plan. I think it is frankly the smartest ask. It builds a roadmap with the stakeholders and can lay out a 3 to 5 year strategy with doable, manageable action steps. This can make all the difference in helping identify doable steps rather than just a general cry for, we need more arts. All of these steps are pretty simple, and they all serve determining what is the ask and helps you use the tools provided to frame that ask. So it's important in this process to include parents and students in the creation of the ask and to engage them in what I consider soft advocacy. There are many opportunities for students to share their art forms with your school board and decision makers at meetings and at special events. March is an especially unique opportunity as it is Arts Education Month nationally. I was really impressed with the district that invited their school board members to attend all the various spring shows and gallery displays of student art. And the students acted as ambassadors to those board members, sharing the behind the scenes processes that they went through to achieve those final products. It's important to include students in actually making the presentation to the board and even making the ask themselves, supported by parents who are voters in the district. These two groups are often your most powerful messengers. So I'd be remiss if I didn't have an ask of you. This is very simple for you to consider. First, if you aren't signed up for CCSESA's monthly arts newsletter, you can do so at this link that we've provided. It's a great way to find out about progress from other parts of the state, which will give you ideas, as well as any new developments or funding opportunities. Secondly, if you want support in your advocacy efforts, join the Create California newsletter, which will give you lots of tools and keep you informed about advocacy opportunities and new strategies. I want to end this session with talking about your next step if you want to move away. Even though this is fairly straightforward, we all need support and someone to bounce ideas off of. You have access to an entire team of people who can support you in refining and moving through these steps. First, your county office has someone who is in charge of the visual and performing arts and is being supported by CCSESA. If you are ready to do a strategic plan for the arts, they are the person you should first talk to in order to get that process going. We have many examples from throughout the state of plans at the district and county level that you can take a look at. In the handouts, there is a link to the most recent contact information for these county visual and performing arts coordinators. You can also reach out to the director of the Arts Initiative at CCSESA or to Create California, the statewide coalition that is advocating for and working to ensure that all students receive a quality, standards-based education in the arts. Don't forget to check out the list of resources that will give you contact information, as well as we have videos that can help you in framing the issue for others, so you don't have to remember all these various framing issues, as well as links to the resources that were highlighted in this presentation. Remember that you are simply asking for students to have access to a full curriculum, and you are promoting the existing tools and experts that can support your decision makers in the process. It was my honor to share this information. Good luck, advocate, and CCSESA is here to help.